Let's bring in Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. He's a member of the Armed Services and Judiciary Committees and serves as a ranking member on the Committee on Veterans Affairs. But let's first talk, Senator, if we could. I mean, you also served as Attorney General in the state of Connecticut for a number of years, about this executive order essentially stripping Perkins Coie of security clearances needed to represent clients and limits the firm's access to government buildings. I mean, what do you make of this, and what can be done?
Well, thank you, Mika, for having me on this very consequential day in the Congress. What I make of this action is it is the ultimate in autocratic attempts to chill advocacy and speech. And it's emblematic of what this administration is doing. The FCC is investigating NBC and CBS. It is taking action against free speech around the country. And this attack on a law firm because of its clients is fundamental to the destruction of our legal system that this administration seems bent on doing. It is a full frontal attack, as Mike just said, but it goes to the fairness of everyday legal proceedings in our country. If you want to be represented by a law firm and you're unpopular, or if you've committed a crime that seems heinous, even though you are innocent, you're going to have trouble finding a law firm under this kind of autocratic approach to punishing law firms simply because of who their clients are. And, you know, the bedrock of our legal system is that people are entitled to representation, even if they're unpopular, even if the public believes they have committed a crime. And this kind of chilling, deadening effect is emblematic of what the administration is trying to do to our legal system, which is the wonder of the world. It is the reason why we are, in large part, an exceptional country. Everybody's equal under the law. Everybody gets to be represented by an attorney. And, you know, Williams & Connolly has a reputation for being fearless and aggressive, going back to Ed Williams, who represented very unpopular clients. It's what we do. It's what I did when I was a lawyer in Connecticut. I was a prosecutor, U.S. attorney, and then attorney general. But I believed strongly in everybody having a right to counsel.
Senator, you talk about today being a consequential day in Congress. I assume you're referencing there the upcoming vote on whether or not the government could shut down. Can you help us understand where Senate Democrats are on this right now? Because there's an idea percolating that if Senate Democrats are given a vote on an amendment that would give a shorter clean CR to April, that's the preference here. You guys don't have the votes for that, but neither do Senate Republicans. So where does this go next?
Well, you're right on both counts that Republicans do not have the votes for a 6-month continuing resolution. And the reason is that they rammed through this measure in the House on a strictly partisan basis. Government funding ought to be bipartisan. And it's now a partisan hot mess because they lack the votes. And our April 11th CR, a clean CR, would give us the time we need to negotiate truly a bipartisan budget. And so we are united in favor of that April 11th CR. And I think it presents the best chance of our keeping the government open, which we all want to do. Nobody wants to shut down the government.
So, Senator Blumenthal, you unveiled a bill this week seeking to reinstate thousands of veterans who have been fired from federal jobs, as well as provide them with back pay. The Putting Veterans First Act of 2025 is the first legislation of its kind looking to remedy the layoffs at the Department of Veterans Affairs and other federal agencies carried out by Elon Musk's government efficiency panel. So tell us a little bit, please, Senator, about the bill, but also just more broadly, the impact you're seeing on veterans or your constituents by these cuts put in place at times seemingly haphazardly by Elon Musk and Doge.
We're seeing the unfolding real-life consequences of the cuts in funding, the freezes on hiring, and the terminations the firings across the Veterans Administration. 2,400 already, another 80,000 targeted at a time when there are already 36,000 vacancies. Doctors, thousands of them, nurses, custodians, schedulers. And so the consequences of these additional cuts are that we're seeing surgeries postponed, the mental health crisis line calls unanswered. The real life consequences are coming home. And this legislation would very simply restore all of those veterans across the board in federal agencies to their jobs and restore every one of those VA workers to the jobs they had in the VA. And what we've learned is there's no plan. You know, Mike Barnicle used the word cruelty earlier in the show. That's what we're seeing here. Cruelty, chaos, callousness toward our nation's heroes. And I'm hopeful we'll have bipartisan support. I'm going to be introducing this legislation with Democrats like Bernie Sanders and others on the VA committee. But I'm reaching out to Republicans because this cause should not be partisan. We have to stop the bleeding in the VA and put back some sense of fairness and equity to people who really have earned and deserve these kinds of benefits.
Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, as always, thank you for being on the show today.